Hello friends, welcome back to another episode on God's Principles for Healthy Relationship. My name is Martin Raj and this is my wife Debbie. We are certified life and relationship coaches. We have been really blessed by presenting these episodes for you in terms of relationships, and we have another special episode today, and it is called Soul Searching. Essential questions you will need to ask for a relationship clarity. There are two verses we have today. One is Psalm 16 verse 11. It says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence there is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore." The second verse is Psalm 32 verse 8. "I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go." It is very important for us to remember that God is the one who gives us the instruction. He gives us the direction. We cannot do things on our own and expect it to work perfectly.
This soul search was something that I used in actually when I would be in a relationship. It's essential questions that help me to know, am I in the way of God? Am I asking the right questions? Sometimes we don't know even which question to ask to know if this is the way or not. And it might seem like it is, but maybe we are not sure. So every time I would be considering a gentleman, I would go through certain questions that we will share with you. So there is a set of questions that ladies could ask towards a gentleman that they're considering, and questions that a gentleman should consider asking when he's seeing a girl and considering a girl. So it's taken from one of our favorite devotionals that is based on how to have a happy Christian home, and it's called Adventist Home. And there it has so many practical advices for family, relationships, like finances, so many things. And we actually chose that book to read together and learn from it as well. But even before we did that in our relationship, I used those questions. And we will start by sharing questions for the lady to ask about the gentleman. So the first two questions, we have 10 for each, and we will go through them, and you can take notes. What has been his past record, and is his life pure? This doesn't mean that the past defines a person. This means that we should be open and know about each other's life and know what is the new decisions or better decisions we've made, and where are we now? So the second one is the love which he expresses of a novel, elevated character, or is it only an emotional fondness? And is it just emotional feelings, but not a deeper type of love? And so this is a very important question to ask ourselves, and to answer it as honest as you can with the experience you have with that person, and pray if you're not sure, because God will reveal.
Yes, and the questions that I would ask is for man to ask about the lady, and the ones that Debbie would read are the ones that a woman or a lady to ask the gentleman. Okay, and I have a couple questions right now. The first one is she fitted to bear her fair share of life's burden? Is she fitted to bear her fair share of life's burdens? This is also very important for a man to consider, because sometimes some girls tend to be just princess, just do their own stuff and not really care for the home. And we have seen some girls that are really not active. They don't take care of their husbands, they don't take care of their children, they just live their own life, do whatever they want to, but it becomes a burden on the husband. So it is important for you to evaluate if this girl, if this lady you are trying to see as a potential, will she have a fair share? Will she initiate to have a fair share in life's burdens? Second question is, will her influence ennoble and refine him? They both are very powerful points, ennoble and refine him, which means she's not going to put him down. She's not going to ill-treat him. She's going to take care of him. She's going to ennoble him. And when there is a need, she's going to refine him. She's going to tell him, hey, you could speak a little bit different. I saw you doing these things. How about you give a positive way of working on things? So she will help to refine him. A guy needs it. One might not agree with it, but a guy needs it, and it is the best way for a wife to show how much she values him.
So now we're going back to the ladies, the questions we should ask. And I love it because in this counsel, it's very practical questions. And so the third one says, has he the traits of character that will make her happy? And can she find true peace and joy in his affection? So basically, is his character what matches her personality or traits that will make her happy? And does she find joy in his affection? These are questions that are very down to earth, very real, and something that we can honestly, if we think about it, answer. The fourth question is, will I be allowed to preserve my individuality? Or must my judgment and conscience be surrendered to the control of my husband? How many ladies are under relationships, or even gentlemen, to be fair and honest, that the other part wants to dictate, control, and make them be under their influence, or basically leave aside their individuality. You have to do things my way is the only way. So we have to really ask ourselves this question: can I be myself, have my individuality, or will I have to surrender even my conscience, my judgment, to the control of my husband?
Right? The next question for men to ask about the woman is, will she make him happy in her love? It's so interesting. Will she make him happy in her love? It's not about in her sex, in her certain flirtatious, but in her love, which encompasses everything together. Most of us, or most of them, imagine that it is just having sex is what is going to make a man happy. Not really. It is everything, how she treats him, how she welcomes him home, how she shows her affection by making food or making something special for him. Will she make him happy in her love? And the next question, fourth question, is, can I safely trust her to do me good and not harm? Who else can you trust so much as your spouse? You know, this question reminds me of Samson and Delilah, right? It was a sad part to see what happened to Samson because he trusted a woman and she betrayed him. Now, we might fall under the same category, but we have to do that evaluation before. Before you get married, you have to check and see if you can trust this person. Will she do good to you and not harm to you?
Wow, very good questions to ponder. So we go back to the lady, the fifth and sixth question. So, can I honor my Savior's claim as supreme, and will my body and soul, thought and purposes be preserved pure and holy? So when we are with someone, can I honor my body and my heart? Or will that my thoughts and purposes be damaged or led in a wrong direction? Will they be preserved pure and holy? And this is a very practical question. As you are in a relationship, do you respect each other's physical boundaries? Are you there to truly commit to the Lord and not be in a place where it's not yet the time? And if for some reason we have fallen in places that then we will suffer, we can go back to Christ and ask for His grace and His guidance. But in that process, we need to evaluate, where is this other person leading me? Sixth question, has my lover a mother? What are the stamps of her character, and does he recognize his obligations to her? Is he mindful of her wishes and happiness? So if the gentleman has a mother, how does he treat her? Is he respectful, loving, caring, considerate? because many times, not all the time, but many times, that can show a reflection of how will be your life, how you will be treated, because that's the female model that a gentleman had, and how is he relating to that person. And yes, it's true, sometimes there's not the best relationship between parents and children, or different character traits are unhealthy, controlling, and so there can be that friction, but still, is there a certain level of respect and consideration for the mother? And I think those are it for now.
Those are it for now. So, question number 5 for gentlemen to ask about the lady as you evaluate. Does she open her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness? I love this question because when I met Debbie, I really was impressed with her wisdom. Every time during Sabbath school or when there were work meetings, she would answer certain things or she would give ideas that was so out of the box. And I was like, every time she would share something, it was not a common thing. It was out of the ordinary. And I really appreciated her for that. And also, law of kindness in her tongue. Check and see if she is kind, not just with you, with others. See and evaluate if she is really having that law of kindness in her tongue when she is communicating. Sometimes it might be really hard when you see that she's being kind with you, but everyone else she is talking badly. You need to remember it might come to you one day, sooner than later. Question number 6. Does she look to the ways of her household and is not idle? How is she taking care of her household? Is she just laying around the whole day, chatting away, looking TikTok and Instagram and doing her own thing? Or is she being useful, purposeful? If she's taking care of the household, if she has parents or siblings, how is she relating with them? That is something to evaluate, because if and when you marry her, that is going to continue in your family as well. If she's not taking care of someone, or if she's not taking care of the household, it is going to happen in your family as well. So, important to analyze it.
For a lady, the following questions, 7 and 8, is: will he be patient with my mistakes, or critical, overbearing, and dictatorial? So this is again related to characteristics of the gentleman. And number 8, is this union happy or inharmonious? Will it enlarge my sphere of usefulness in this life? So if you're feeling unhappy that this is really not matching, probably you will have to put beside this question like, I'm not sure about that, or not really. And it will open your eyes to very important questions that we should ask.
All right, gentlemen, it's question number 7 for you. Will she bring happiness to the home, or will she bring you down with her negativity, with her sadness? Something to evaluate. Imagine you come back from work, you are tired, you had a long day, you're exhausted, and then you come home to a place where someone is constantly complaining and is sad and depressed and is wanting to share with you everything constantly, so that it brings down your spirits as well. Are you really interested in that type of a person? You know, it might sound a little extreme, but it is reality. Those things happen in life. We need to evaluate that. Question number 8 for you, gentlemen. Is she an economist, or will she, if married, not only use all her savings and earnings, but all of yours to gratify a vanity, a love of appearance? Are her principles correct in this direction? This is something similar to our previous episode, one of the previous episodes, which is the dollars and dates. We discussed on how a husband and wife need to handle money wisely. And here we are trying to evaluate if the wife will be careful and not spend the money vainly for vanity, for appearance, for the love of appearance. But will she be really careful while spending the money? Will she be thrifty? Will she be more into saving?
So the last two questions for the ladies is, will our offspring possess physical health and mental and moral strength? So this basically takes you to analyze what are our lifestyle habits, or what are some maybe health issues we have, to consider those things, at least be aware and plan accordingly, knowing what needs to be done or what will be the reality. And the last one, will this union help me heavenward? And will it increase my love for God? If all of these questions we ask is positive answer, like yes, yes, and I have peace in all of these areas, that's a good sign that this person might be someone God has for your future. If there is things you answer and they're not really at, then this might be a sign that you need to pray more and be really cautious and consider those things.
All right. The last two questions for the gentleman. The ninth question is, has she anything now to depend upon? Will she be one who will be patient and painstaking? Or will she cease to care for your mother and father at the very time when they need a strong son to lean upon? And will she withdraw him from their society? This is also something very critical and very, very necessary, because parents spend their years raising their children, and many times it is the guys who take care of the parents in the last stages. And during that time, at that very moment, is the wife going to allow him to take care of them? Is she going to allow him to be with them in the society? Or is she going to separate him from them, so that she will just have the attention for herself? Because the parents need the children in the last moments, not necessarily before their death, but in their later stages after retirement. They want to have communication. They want to be in touch with their children, especially sons. Will this wife let them do it?
So in this same devotional, there's a very powerful quote in Adventist homepage 45.2, or paragraph. If these reflections present no drawback, then in the fear of God move forward. So this is not just a checklist. You have been praying and you feel in your heart that connection, that love that comes from God towards this person. And then if all of these reflections and questions, there's no red flag, but you have peace and confidence, you've analyzed them and things are positive, then it's clear. Move forward in the fear of God.
Now we will see, what do you want in a spouse? Those are questions that you have to be very specific. That is, the first one is, focus on what you do want, not on what you don't want. Maybe focus on it, but focus less on it. But most of us will have to focus on what we want than what we don't want.
So what qualities and personality does this person has? And focus more on what traits you're looking for in this person. And try to understand actually what is their character, how are they developing, how are they showing the fruit of the Spirit, what can you see in them. And so this will help you as well as you are analyzing all of these questions. And in one of our first episodes, we talked about core values. So this list of questions, together with the list of your core values, will give you a very clear understanding if, like we read at the beginning, if this is the way to walk ye in it. And how do we know God's will? Yes, sometimes can be a sign and wonders that God makes it clear it's His will for us, but other times it's through very honest and genuine and practical questions and being analytical in the process of seeing if this is a companion for life or not. God is very, very practical when He leads us into this process, and He helps us with practical questions we can ask.
And finally, know or write down the wishes you have, which is an added blessing. You don't have to have them, but These are just your wishes. You just hope that this person would have it, your potential or your interest would have it. But if they don't have it, it is fine. But if they have it, it's a nice added blessing that you have in your life. And you know what? Many times God answers those wishes as well. God is a loving God. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to really enjoy our life thoroughly. Most of the times we are the ones with our own decisions, our own mistakes, and our own assumptions that God is limited. We limit our God. So if you have any wishes, bring it to God, and if it is His will, He will answer that as well. It is a nice blessing that is added to your life.
And before our challenges for today, I just wanted to share that in our experience, I had this list for years. Since my early 20s, I compiled all the questions that I should ask. And then I started to writing my core values. And as I said, I ended up having up to 20-something core values as time went by, and I knew more what I was looking for and what I couldn't live without. And when we met, there were a couple things that maybe we were not sure at the beginning. We needed more time. There were a couple things that were like things that we needed to work on to blend and have peace. But then everything aligned. And now when young people ask me that I coach, they're like, how do I know who is the one? How will you know who is the one? And what if there's many people that filled up your core values and answer all of this question? I'm like, well, maybe it can happen, but honestly, in my experience, there was never someone that truly I had peace with all of these questions and my core values. Only after our relationship and prayerful consideration, everything aligned. And I truly believe that bringing two people together is a miracle that only God can perform, and that it's not something randomly that would happen with many people at the same time and you'll have a hard time deciding.
Absolutely. And now we will head to the challenge. Design a vision board for your relationship. The first one is to write top 5 core values. If you haven't seen that episode, we highly recommend you to go and watch that episode. It is called Roadmap, Relationship Roadmaps. Go to that and see what we talk about core values. And after you see it, write down your top 5 core values.
Then you are going to see what main characteristics you want in a spouse. So a vision board, you can have it on a little booklet or somewhere that you can put it like a poster to have what main characteristics do you want in a spouse, or what talents are you also bringing into the relationship.
And the last one is, what main areas do you have in common? And this part is specific for those who already have a relationship, or really you are seeing someone, you see them as your potential, and you want to go into a relationship. Just check what areas you have in common. So it will help you to guide through the path.
And this is a vision board, so it's what you envision. Even if you might not have someone right now, you can pray and ask God, what do I envision for a healthy relationship? And that will help you.
Yeah. With that, we have come to end of another episode. And this is very important, and it goes well along with relationship roadmaps. So the topic for today, again, is soul search. Remember, your relationship, your marriage doesn't come by your emotions and feelings alone. It is something that you work together. It is something that you see, you build your core values, you bring it to God, you ask Him to show you, and ask these questions that we've shared, whether the ones Debbie shared for women or the ones that I shared for men. Evaluate them and see if they will be your potential partner. Anyway, we would like to say goodbye and see you in the next episode.